Welcome back to Elite Dangerous. As promised, we're going to do a little bit of pirate hunting. So, let's get started. We're supposed to go to Lumen 16. Let's head that way and get some blast on. There it is. Now, I'm flying the Cobra Mark III, which is one of the better earlier ships. Has a great cargo capacity and a relatively good weapons loadout. It's got 2 medium and 2 light hardpoints. I found in my preference is going to be 1 heavy beam laser to melt shields and 3 light multi-cannons or mini guns or Vulcan cannons, whatever you want to call them, to damage the hull once the shields are gone. Because the beam cannon just totally destroys any sorts of shields that it runs up against, at least in my level. Of course, there are ships that their shields I can't really do much against, nor their hull, but usually I die before anything like that even comes up. Usually from my experience, they pit you against ships that are around your same level. I actually have only run into a few very high-level ships that I had to run away from. And I was able to run away from all but one. And that was an assassination target. I was, pretty drunk at the time, and I decided to go for it. And he killed me like nothing. I was a fly buzzing in his ear, and he swatted me away. Alright, so we're going to be looking for unidentified signal sources. This pretty much just involves flying around and getting lucky. You'll notice in my radar in the lower center there's 2 hollow squares. Those are players, not AI. And here's one of the unidentified signal sources. And of course I'm going a little too fast, but slowing down. I should just be able to slow down enough. There we go. Thankfully you don't have to be lined up too exact here. Oh, and look at that. It looks like I've got some wonderful, wonderful stuff to do. So let's do some kill warrant scanning. See what sort of bonuses I might be able to get from these guys. It says he's clean here. And since we're in Federation space, I don't want to push my luck. And these guys are all green. So they're pretty much all federal or otherwise, so we don't want to mess with them. If we have a look at our contacts, we'll be able to actually see his bounty there at the bottom is nothing. So I can't get a bounty for him no matter where I am. So let's get out of here and find somebody else to blow up. When they're green on my radar, that means usually they're allied with me in some way. They're part of the Federation, they're part of Mother Gaia, or part of the Federal Congress. And if I attack any one of those guys, bad things will happen. So even if they're wanted, I usually avoid them as much as possible. So let's keep flying around, and there we go, another unidentified signal source. Let's hope we roll a 20. I say that because the contacts are pretty random. Now you'll notice occasionally, I don't know if you'll notice in this particular instance, sometimes you'll see ships jump out of the unidentified signal source. Usually means if you show up there, things are already done. You might find some floating debris that you can scoop up for sale. Maybe 1 or 2 ships left over, like a federal ship, but usually it's an empty piece of space. And if you ever click off, like there's another unidentified after it, if it's something that's empty and you click off, it's going to disappear rather than it's still being there after you disengage your sensors from it. That's a good indication that there's actually something going on. But since nobody's jumping out of this one, we'll go ahead and jump in and see what we get. Single, I'll bet this is the Lacan 6. No, it's an adder. Expert. And this happens pretty often. If you have a mission and you go into an unidentified signal source, you'll find some single person or group of guys that updates your mission status. And they'll give you some other choices, or one other choice. In this case, they want me to kill Authority vessels or Federation ships, and they'll give me a little bit extra credit. However, I really don't want to get on the Federation's bad side, because, well, I'm going to be allied with them soon. So we'll ignore this guy and get back to hunting pirates. Oh, pardon me. I wish we could kill those guys, since obviously they're pirates if they're offering you money to not kill pirates, but whatever. Oh, there's a conflict zone. Maybe we'll head there. You can get some easy, well, not easy money, but you can get some money from these conflict zones. Every kill you get nets you about 3,000 credits, which is not a lot. And it's kind of a hairball. In other words, a very big dogfight with a whole bunch of ships everywhere, a whole bunch of different strength ships, some of which way out of your league, and a checkpoint. What is this? Okay, whatever that is. And for the most part, yeah, unless you have a specific purpose for going, it's kind of pointless. Now, the conflict zones, once you show up, you get to pick a side and fight for that particular side. And, you can sway the tide of the battle in your favor or your side's favor or not. And in my experience, all of them are merely civil wars between factions in your particular star system. So unless you have a specific purpose, like a mission that's sending you there to make a certain number of kills, or you want to work with that particular faction and you want to increase their influence, they're kind of pointless and dangerous, because you can run into ships that far outclass you and will annihilate you without hesitation. Thankfully, there's a lot of other ships there, AI ships usually, that can mitigate said impact, since you're not the only one they're targeting. But if you run into an Anaconda when you're not ready, or a Federal drop ship, or an ASP, and you're in a lower class ship like this one, you're going to have a hard time dealing with that particular conflict, especially since they're not the only enemies. And even if you're in the middle of fighting one guy, there's the high probability that somebody else is going to jump into the middle of your combat, your dogfight, and, well, wreck you up. So I'd advise only going to those in the beginning, especially with a lower class ship, if you know why you're going. Here we go. Let's get a kill scan on this guy. He's wanted already, so let's see if we can't get a bit of an extra bonus. He's in a Viper. Alright, let's take him down. Beam lasers away. Looks like he's under attack by that ship too. I want to put some power to my weapons, I guess. Nope, be careful with that. If you hit these guys when they are crossing the streams, then they will immediately add a bounty to you and start attacking you. So be very knowledgeable about where the Federal ships are, and every other ship around you. Know that they will cross the streams without hesitation. And this guy's just doing some roll maneuvers here. He's pretty low on health, and I overshot. Let's get turreted back on him. Yeah, there's an Anaconda right there. This guy really made a bad choice. Careful with that guy so I don't hit him. And yes, physical impact between ships counts as attacking for whatever reason. Now, most of the weapons I work with are gimbaled, mainly because my aiming is not the greatest. Melt his shields a little bit there. And be careful with the crossfire. And that should be good for the kill. There we go. Hey, nice bounty. Now, let's switch over to our kill warrant scanner. This Anaconda, there's no way I'd be able to hurt him. We'll scan him anyways. Alright, let's check and see what he is. No record. Alright, so looks like he is not a problem. We'll move on. And I believe that'll count as a single kill for my pirates. Yes, targets killed 1. Now let's jump out and bring some hell to somebody else. You'll notice when I'm close to the other ships, it says my frame shift drive is inhibited, which is one of the ways you can interrupt people from jumping. If you can get close enough, their jump drive will be very slow to charge, giving you the opportunity to attack. So just jumping away from situations is not always the answer, because sometimes you won't get very far at all. I doubt I'm going to get 2 pirate contacts in a row, but let's have a look. Usually the secondary contact is something like a bunch of Federation ships, like a Lacan Class 6 cruiser and some escorts and stuff. And unless you're a pirate or a group of pirates that want to take them on, it's pretty pointless. But it's nice that they're there. Oh, there we go. See who jumped away. Viper, Federal Navy ship. See, and the uh, unidentified signal source disappeared when I targeted off. That means that there was nothing left. That would have shown up. It would have tried to fill it with something, fill the void, as it were, but it would have filled it with nothing worthwhile, especially not any pirates. So let's move on to the next one. And again, one of the things I've noticed is that if you continue to close on a signal source that has been obviously emptied because somebody's jumping away, and that guy's wanted, I don't have a frame shift drive interdictor which would pull them out. See, there we go. Another unidentified signal source will pop up for you. So don't just turn away without thinking about it. You can close on it for a bit because the signal sources seem to be pretty random. I mean, you can get them at full speed, like 1700 times the speed of light, or at the lowest speed at 30 kilometers per hour in Super Cruise. Or 30 kilometers per second, sorry. And they'll pop up either way. So it's pretty random. I mean, if you don't want to mess with your throttle, you can pretty much just find a cool spot, hunker down, and let your ship cruise until you see an USS, and then hop out and see what's there. Like this one, which is the same, what I just mentioned. And here we go, an ASP, probably doing some transporting. He's going to be clean. There you go. His escorting ships, of course, are probably going to be clean. Yep, there's that. And here's the other ships in the group. Another ASP. Betcha this one's going to be clean. So this here was a pointless jump for us. And I don't know, unless you're like in an Anaconda, you really can't take on that many guys. But it's cool that they put it in. So you never know what you're going to run into. Sort of a random element in the game. And when you have missions, of course, it'll tailor the signal sources to your missions to a point. So if you have a hunting mission or something like that, the probability you're going to actually run into the thing that you're hunting, I guess, goes up or is included in the percentage chance for what's going to show up in these signal sources. You can use your visuals to find them because they usually show up in front of your ship since this is the way you're traveling. You can also go here to navigation and they'll pop up right here. And even the ones that show up outside of your visual range or you miss, you'll be able to turn around and get back to. Pretty handy, but since you're turning away from the screen, you can't see where you're going. You don't see the ones that come up in front of you. Especially in busy systems, it's not a great idea. Now, with the IR tracker, the head tracker, of course, you could just turn your head a little bit and look at your nav monitor over there. At least that's what I call it. It's navigation information, where you're going, what you're targeting, that sort of stuff. And of course with the Oculus, which may be one of these, maybe next decade, they'll come out with it in 2020. Maybe we'll get lucky, us gamers. We've only been waiting for it for quite a few years, and nobody can seem to get a hold of one, even though everybody keeps talking about them like they're the greatest thing ever, and you see videos about them all the time. You're like, well, I've never seen one for sale. And they're like, well, it's a developer kit only because they're working on it. Like, we'll work on it faster. I want my toy, you bastards. There we go, and let's put the pressure on. No shields on this guy, so he's going to be a pretty easy kill. Well, I'm not letting you get away, not with that much health left. Goodbye. So who is scanning me? And what do you think you're going to get? Because, there we go. Let's give him a quick scan. Always worth it in these situations because you probably get a couple of extra bucks, usually from the Empire, sometimes the Alliance. And once you gather up enough, you can always head to their space and turn it in. I mean, extra money is extra money. You're already doing the work, right? No, 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 no. You don't get to run away. I need you for my mission. Goodbye. Nice reward, too. Look at that. And that is a Federal ship. Yep, we'll go ahead and put away our weapons. Beryllium and synthetic fabrics and beryllium. These guys didn't have much. Those are worth about $1,000 each, which isn't really worth the extra jump. Now, a lot of the space stations have black markets, but until until you get there and look, you're not going to know because they're not really advertised, hence the black market. And there's a few stations that have really good black markets, mainly because they're smaller ones. There are little space stations. There's just a landing pad, no docking entrance or anything like that. I spoke a little bit about it in my last video, but there's a few of them. The smaller stations really don't have any security. So there's nobody that's going to scan you and find out that you have illegal goods and then fine you for them. So anytime you run across stuff like this, you can usually pick it up if you know where to take it, and then you can just turn it in and make a little bit of side profit. Like this guy's gone. I could pick these up, but the jump is to, let's see, I've got it written down here. We'd have to make it to Lumen 16 at the Jenner station, which is actually right here. So you know what? Yes, we're going to go ahead and pick these up because he is in this system and there's no security. Beryllium. Alright, why not? Well, let's go ahead and swoop these up. Some synthetic fabrics. I can talk today, I promise. Let's do this guy first because he's closer. Too fast. There we go. Now, if you take too long, these things will disappear. And yes, you can run into them, but they don't seem to do like any damage, at least at the speeds I've run into them. Usually the cargo scoop gets them anyways, so it's not too big of a deal. Oh, well, there you go. You can destroy the canister. That's the first time I've had that happen, actually. So, hey, first time for everything. And what better place to do it than on my YouTube channel than to screw up some money. But that was synthetic fabric. That one is one of the cheapest things you can get a hold of. So, let's be a little more careful with this beryllium because I know this one's a little more expensive. Go. And last, I think this is the frame shift drive of the Federal ship. Yeah. Alright, so let's head to Jenner's station and turn in some free money. Or Jenner Orbital, whatever you're going to call it. Oh, whoops. Gotta put away the cargo scoop. All power to jump drive. I put that away. Thank you. You sure you don't have the parking brake on? Sort of. Inertial dampener. Alright, so let's go run to the black market real quick. And then this video will be done. Just a quick little pirate hunting. Some of them are up to 8 pirates is the maximum I've seen. But the time frames are usually pretty short. A couple of hours at most. This one was 3. You want to keep that in mind if you're at a station and you're doing some other missions in your cargo run or whatever you're doing. You've got, a group of missions you want to complete. These ones are usually pretty short in their time length for completion. Once you have them done, of course, turning them in eliminates that timer. You can turn it in anytime you want. So that's pretty nice if you can work it into your rounds. Whoa, what the hell was that? Like 5 different ships? They flying over the Super Bowl or something? Alright. Here's one of the smaller stations I was talking about. This particular one I know has a black market. That's why I marked it. And they usually do not scan, which would be funny because they're probably going to scan me this one time. I have to be within 7.5 kilometers for these guys to get docking permission. If this guy starts scanning me, I'm just going to drop my cargo because that seems to work, oddly enough. Although I'll get fined by the station for dropping cargo nearby. So hopefully that's not going to happen. And there's our landing pad. Gotta be careful here. Ooh, hey, what's up? No fire zone, so I'm not going to bother with him. Better to just turn this stuff in. Because if the feds show up, then they're going to scan me, and why am I not getting the landing thing? I'm here. Okay. Didn't give me the target that time, but I guess I'm just that good of a pilot that I knew where it was. I'll pat myself on the back for that later. Alright, so let's head in and turn in our ill-gotten goods, or their ill-gotten goods that we confiscated. Contacts, there's our black market. And beryllium, that's actually a really good price. I thought I had more. Oh, I blew up the other beryllium. I thought I blew up the synthetic fabrics. Shame. Well, you live and you learn, and you lose out on $4,000. And my bounties, there you go. Bounties are worth a whole lot of money. We like bounties. And this is where I'd turn in anything from the combat zone that I was looking at earlier. I think I'll go in there anyways for my next video just to show you guys what it's like. Pretty hectic, but if you like dogfights that are in just big hairballs, they can be a lot of fun. That one was low intensity. The high intensity, from what I understand, can actually have capital ships show up, which is pretty freaking cool. But that is going to do it for my video tonight for a little bit of bounty hunting, pirate hunting, whatever you want to call it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions, you know where to leave them. I'll probably read the comments. Maybe. We'll see you guys next time.